I'm Mo Rocca, and I'm excited to announce Season 4 of my podcast, Mobituaries. I've got a whole new bunch of stories to share with you about the most fascinating people and things who are no longer with us. From famous figures who died on the very same day, to the things I wish would die, like buffets. All that and much more. Listen to Mobituaries with Mo Rocca wherever you get your podcasts.
Is it pumpkin spice time again? Hello, I'm Anita Joyce here with Kelly Wilkness, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks.
We thought today we'd just give you some inspiration and some ideas. Fall is my favorite season. I think it's Anita's as well.
Oh, yes. I love
and I
it.
did a little research online, and I believe that fall is predominantly the favorite season for at least the people that took various polls and things that I was seing online.
But
Even
why
my
is that?
girls.
Because the spring we have all the beautiful flowers, but I do love fall. I just love it.
Yeah, it's interesting. They didn't really say why, but like I was talking to my daughters about it, and both of them really love fall too, which is interesting because as a kid, you think summer or Christmas time, but they both love fall too. So I don't know. It's just that feeling.
Must be all the pumpkin spice.
The pumpkin spice. But I think also if you've been a kid or you have kids, fall seems kind of like the time of new beginnings. The idea of going back to school and there's something new, like that feels like such an opportunity to start again, which may be part of the whole fall appeal.
Yeah, well, here it gets so hot. I mean, just the first cool morning, I just am just ecstatic. It feels like Christmas to me.
Yeah.
So exciting. So, okay, well, let's get to it.
Yeah, well, I pulled out my bins and I had greatly reduced my fall decor last year. You know what? I didn't find myself thinking, gee, where's that blah, blah, blah. I just knew there was less and I was happy with what I kept. So I have one bin and then one small, sort of small container, like almost like a file size container with stuff that is a little bit more breakable. But I do have some faux pumpkins because I bought those about a year or two ago when one of the magazines was coming and I couldn't get any pumpkins because it was
Is that
way
when
too
you
early.
bought out some store and your trunk
They
was
were
full of
pulling
them?
out
I
my
remember
shopping cart.
you talking about them.
And then I had to decide that they all had to be white. So then I painted them all. It was quite a production. So that really is the only item that's in this big bin. So I've got these pumpkins. I've got a couple of stacks of books that are sort of seasonally appropriate too. They talk like maybe they're talking about leaves in the title, or there's one about witches of Salem and things like that, and definitely in the browns and blacks and golden tones. And so I have that, and then I have some amber bottles and some acorns and a few other things tucked in there. And that's really what I'm going to put out this year, in addition to some natural elements. That's what I'm going to use this year. And of course, some real pumpkins.
Well, that sounds wonderful. And really, my emphasis as we go through this list is on very natural things. I don't like buying a lot of fake things like the fake pumpkins, but the fake pumpkins, I think that's fine. I think that's great, but I don't do, I don't buy a lot of stuff that says fall, y'all, and, Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, that is so funny. And one time we were in a group. You may have been in this group. It was like a group of bloggers a while back, and there was predominantly girls that live in the South. And I thought I was being cute, being like, oh, something about y'all. And I put it in an email and I spelt it wrong. I guess y'all there's a certain way to spell that. And I didn't spell it right. And they were like, you are such a Yankee, like, whatever. Yeah, so I would definitely not have that. Or if I had it, it would be misspelled on my sign.
Okay, so one of my favorite things to use, whatever the season is to buy some ribbon that goes with that season and then just kind of putting it around the room. So that's really a pretty easy way to do things. And then, so I kind of have a new theme for the house so I don't get bored with it. And ribbon is really a pretty inexpensive purchase. In fact, I just found my tartan ribbon that I actually bought from the UK and had shipped here because I just love tartan ribbon. So I just found it looking through one of the closets, and so that's why I'm going to get some of that out to use for the fall. But I think ribbon is such a great thing to use. You can use kind of a check or a plaid. You can go with colors for the season, tans, browns, orange, white, black. I think any of those would work well. And you can even go off-road as far as your colors. I don't think you're stuck with orange and black. I love tartans. We have one for our family. But those are so beautiful to have. And this, if you have them, this is the time to bring them out. And you don't even, with the tartans, they don't have to necessarily be fall colors, but it just kind of says fall, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I think of those stadium blankets and things like that, and the tartan and the wool. And just, it's just really a lovely way to nod to the season without banging yourself over the head with a fall y'all sign. So I think it's a good way to go. Now, I love the idea of the ribbon. It could be a very inexpensive way to go. So give us some ideas of what would you do with the ribbon? Would you entwine it in a wreath, or would you just tie it onto something? What would you do with it? Yeah,
you could put it on a wreath. Well, really anything. You put it on a wreath. I've got a lot of antiques that have those keys in them, the antique keys. Mm-hmm. So I think it's great to put a bow on those keys. I put it on my lantern in my breakfast room. I put it on the newel post on my stairwell, or you can kind of wrap it around your stairs all the way going down the handrail. There's some wonderful videos to learn how to make the multi-loop bows, and those are what I prefer. Those are the ones that I use around the house. And then if you make those and you use some wire for those, then you can, set them aside. Maybe don't use them next year unless you want to, but you could kind of do those like, oh, I used those 3 years ago. Now I'm ready to see them again. Mm-hmm. Or you could just pull them out for each year.
No, those are great ideas. And I was thinking about what you're saying about you don't have to stay with the colors that are traditional colors of the season, the autumnals and the oranges. Thinking of a palette for you, Anita, like, what about plum and sagey green and a neutral? So then you could bring in the fall look with maybe some eucalyptus. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you could find a dried flower that had some of the plum in it.
Hydrangeas,
maybe some wheat. Oh, hydrangeas, right. And then maybe you make a whole little, like a posy or a bouquet of those. You know how they have the wheat sheafs that can kind of stand up? You could put ribbon around that.
Yes, I have some of those, and I love having those sitting out around the
And even
house.
if you found like an inexpensive wheat sheaf that stands up, I think everybody probably knows what I'm talking about. You know, you can find those at Home Goods or whatever. And if you didn't like the color, say it has some sort of Halloween ribbon on or something, just get a ribbon that's wider and wrap around
or cut it off,
a ribbon that you love.
Exactly. In fact, speaking of all those colors you're talking about, what about our velvet pumpkins that you and I have? They're all over now. I mean, there's really not just one source for those anymore.
The velvet pumpkins are all over, but we'll link to the source that we have pumpkins from, or a couple of sources. We have them from shops that really do it right. You know,
yes,
every
that's
velvet
true.
pumpkin is
ours
not
are gorgeous
equally. And some of them have fake stems, and you really want one that is having a real stem. And the velvets are not all the same. So, yes, but that is something that you might think, oh, that's such, it really is an investment. Some of the bigger ones, or you get a collection of 3, you're talking about over $100, right?
Right. But I've had my velvet pumpkins for several years, and they look fantastic. And that's one of the few things I get out every year, and it just makes me smile. I am so happy. They're so beautiful. So you will not be sorry.
No, you will not be sorry, and you will use them over and over again, and they always look elegant. My faux pumpkins that I had to get in a pinch, and now I just feel kind of bad about throwing them away or giving them away. I did give some away to Goodwill, and all the effort I went into chalk painting them, and they really did use them when the magazine came, because there was no way I was finding. They wanted to do fall in May. I was not finding a pumpkin in California
you can't get
in May. If the house was on fire and I had to pick a pumpkin, I'm certainly going for the velvet.
Yes, we know which ones you're getting. That's right.
So, yes, that's a great thing to invest in. Some other things, like I was saying, the vintage books. You might be able to get those for a song if you go to a thrift store or something like that. So look for ones that have sort of a fall theme, or at least the colors that you like, that you want to use for your fall. And then you put a little baby boo pumpkin on top of it. Done.
No, you're not done. Put the ribbon on it.
Oh, put the ribbon on it. There
See? And then you can put the baby boo next to it. And we did mention baby boos, I hope, because Go get the real little white pumpkins or the little orange ones. They last forever too.
They do. It seems to be the smaller the pumpkin, the longer it lasts. Maybe it's because there's more flesh rather than just, the empty inside.
It's going to last longer than you're going to be into Christmas and still going to.
I know. I always feel bad about my pumpkins that are still around.
Well, I guess you can make a pumpkin soup if you want to.
Well, what I'll do is I bury them, or put them in the compost pile. And if you bury them, then you're going to get a little volunteer pumpkin vine coming up.
Well, it's so interesting you say that. So I had a tea whatever event here, and the bulbs, they quit blooming, and I don't know, I just kind of threw them in the back of my yard, in the back.
You gave them as little gifts or something, or you had them for the table or something. I
had these on the table. No, it was like a square of them. Of these, and they were all tightly together. Well, I just threw those bulbs. They were spent. I just threw them. I don't know why. I just threw them behind my garage. Do you know, I went out and looked, and they're all coming up green shoots. Oh! So I put them back in the container, and I'm watering them now.
Brilliant. See, you are a gardener. You did it.
Well, if neglect is gardening, then I'm there.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes things just are better left alone. Another thing that I love to use are feathers. I think feathers are such a great addition to a fall display. It kind of has the sense of the feeling.
Like pheasant.
Exactly. Pheasant feathers. And you can find feathers that have just fallen off. You're not inhumanely harvested feathers or anything like that. So you can purchase feathers. So maybe you get like 10 or 12 feathers, and then you could add them to floral displays. You could just put one on top of this stack of books that we're talking about with a ribbon wrapped around it with the baby boo, and put a feather right next to it. Remember when we were in Round Top and I bought that
the black feathers. Yes.
I love those. And they make such a statement in a vignette, even if it's just one on its own. It really does make a difference. Amber bottles. I have a little collection of amber bottles that when I used to be autumnal, I had them displayed on a shelf somewhere in my prior house. But that's a great thing to bring out for the fall, and maybe you just have it with a little sprig of something in it, or nothing at all. But when there's a little collection, you have 3 of them or more in different heights, it's just really, really pretty.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I think bottles in general will kind of have a fall look. Now, I have a few that kind of have a summer kind of sea glass look. Now, those don't feel fallish. But if you get the regular kind of just clear glass, it tends toward the blue, I guess, or some that are kind of greenish. I think those look great for fall. I don't even think you have to go with amber. You can put things in them or not. And interestingly, some of these rustic things, some of the vintage things really have that fall feel. So I so agree with you with the vintage books, the vintage bottles. And you know what else I think looks fantastic for fall? And that is to use a wooden dough bowl, or just a wooden bowl. Yeah. And then you can fill it full of pumpkins. You can fill it full of acorns, the baby boos, perhaps. One of my favorite things, I actually have the wooden bowl that a great grandmother used for dough. I like nothing better than to put apples in there, or pears. And the apples actually last longer, but I love sitting those out, and they're just so fresh and beautiful, and they just feel so seasonal.
Yes, I love that too, whether it be green or red or even some yellow ones. And if you have a long dough bowl or a big bowl or something like that, and you're like, oh, wow, how many baby boos would I have to get to fill it? You can crinkle up some paper. You can put some even dish towels sort of balled up underneath it, and then, start then layering on your decorative items that you're going to have in there, so you don't have to fill the entire bowl with something. If you're doing a display in something flatter, like a long dough bowl or on a tray or something like that, you can also tuck leaves underneath. You could tuck seeded eucalyptus in between the baby boos.
And I love what you're saying, and I don't think people realize this. If you have a massive dough bowl or some massive container that you're putting stuff in, just put some paper in the bottom, like you just said, or something just as filler. Like, what about those olive buckets? I mean, you could just put something in the bottom of those too, and then fill them with your pumpkins or
Well, what
gourds?
I did, I think I did it last year, is I put some of these fakies that we're talking about that I had to purchase on the bottom. And then I put some white pumpkins on the top. So I wasn't buying more and more pumpkins because particularly if you were buying the Cinderellas or something like that, they're usually not that cheap. I mean, Trader Joe's always seems to have the best deal on the pumpkins, but if you have to buy that many pumpkins, then you're just lugging all those pumpkins everywhere. So I made use of the faux ones that way by filling up the bottom of galvanized containers with them. Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Galvanized metal is also a thing that I think also evokes the fall. It just feels sort of like you drag your bucket out to apple pick or something like that. So that's a really pretty way to decorate. Even if you had a galvanized bucket that sort of had a nice age to it, and say you found a mid to large size pumpkin, you could just plop that right on top of it. Done.
Oh, yeah. And another thing that you can mix in with pumpkins in a dough bowl or some other display are deer shed. I think people have a misconception that deer are harmed when you have deer sheds, but that's why I call them sheds instead of antlers. They shed them. They come off, break off, and then there you go. And then you can just pick them up, or you can even buy the faux ones. Both of them look great.
If you are struggling to find pumpkins, or you just want to off-road it a little bit, how about pomegranates? How about some gourds? Yeah. There's so many different kinds of gourds that you can pretty much find, at least here in California. We are kind of spoiled with the amount of produce that we can get our hands on throughout the entire year. But there are a lot of different gourds available. And so if you want to just start your fall decor even earlier than pumpkin season, start with that. Use some pomegranates. That's a beautiful, and that would bring in a lovely sort of purpley, maroonish color if you wanted to do the palette we were talking about earlier.
Yes, and in walking in my neighborhood, I'm always looking to see how everyone's done their front porch, and if I can see inside the house, even better.
All the better.
All the better. That's right. So that's why you want to go around dusk when you can see in.
It's so funny.
For those that are interested.
Like, hey, dogs, having a walk.
That's right. But anyway, there were these different sized lanterns all on the front porch, and somebody had filled them all with the fairy lights, and they were on, and it was so pretty.
Oh, so pretty.
And I was thinking, man, I need to go buy a bunch of lanterns because I don't really have too many, but it really was a stunning look and so easy to do. And, if you have the lanterns, they work for all seasons. You're just going to change out what's in them depending on your season. But for the fall, you can put the little pumpkins in there. You can put some ribbon in there. You can put pine cones, anything that kind of works, and some moss in if you need to fill in some little spaces, and then put in those lights, and it's just a beautiful look. But anyway, you don't have to use just a candle in them, I guess is what I'm going to say. But if you want, that's even a great look. It's just several lanterns with candles in them.
Right, and put them on the remotes or the ones that have the timers, and then they'll just pop on when people like Anita are walking by, and they'll really appreciate it.
I
really
will.
Lovely. Another thing that you can add to your front door or maybe even an interior door is a wreath. Now, I have told you I am still on the fence about how I feel about wreaths. I was really into them for a while, and I was always making a different wreath for different seasons, and then kind of stopped doing all of that. But I took a look to see what was out there for all of you, and I found a really beautiful one at a site called Food 52. It's more of a culinary site. It's a really, really pretty, they're calling it a half branch, so half of it is covered and the other half is just left the grapevine, the empty grapevine.
Oh, right. I've seen those.
Right, which is really pretty, but it's really full on the other side and sort of wild looking, and it's in this really beautiful tones like sage green, and I was almost like a blue, but you guys should take a look at it. We'll put the link in the show notes to that particular one. And I have to give a shout out to my mom because she just made the absolutely most beautiful fall wreath for her door. It is a showstopper, so good job, Mom. Really pretty.
Oh. Well, and this is also a time to set your candles out. Like you said, I prefer the ones on timers unless they're close by so I can make sure nothing's going to catch on fire. But, it's just a time for kind of coziness. And I think that's what we all like about it.
And I think just the change of season, it's exciting every year. I have a couple of tips that don't really involve decor. Can I share them right now? They're garden tips. I want you all to resist the urge to clean up all your leaves. This may really run against the grain of a lot of people because we want nice and tidy, and all those things should be blown away and put in plastic bags and hauled off to some landfill somewhere. Maybe this year you could leave your leaves, or you could leave some of your leaves, or you could gather all your leaves and then you can put them under your shrubs and around your perennials and sort of tuck them in for the winter, particularly if you're a person who lives in a cold place. This is going to do an amazing job of adding nutrients to your soil. And also, it's going to give all the little creatures, like all the little insects and a lot of our bees that live in the ground, an opportunity to nest in there over the winter. So think about doing that. There's a lot of good reasons to do it. I could keep going on, but enough said.
Well, great idea. So I'm going to go back inside.
Okay.
Now that you've helped us with our extra leaves. And you know what I saw on Pinterest I thought was a really cool idea was these were real acorns, and someone had painted the bottom part different colors, and it looked like it was nail polish. I don't know if it was that or just some glossy paint, but they were kind of glossy paint, and some were blue, some were green, and different colors. They looked so pretty. Wouldn't that be beautiful in a glass bowl or just something where you could see through and see them? I think that would be so pretty.
I'm just thinking somebody had a lot of COVID time on their hands.
Well,
even in my height of craftiness, when I was running 2 Girl Scout troops, I never paused in the action long enough to paint the bottom of an acorn. But now I kind of wish I had.
It sounds goofy, but they look nice.
Lovely. I saw something on Instagram not too long ago, and I was like, oh, wow. And then I thought, no. They paint. It's a mother and daughter team. They painted like beautifully painted, not just like one color. Painted little scenes inside oyster shells.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, that takes some commitment.
Yes, a lot of commitment. And my first thought was like, oh, wow, all those oysters. My husband loves oysters. All those oysters Peter's eaten all over the years. I could have been just saving those from the restaurants and then having these wonderful craft projects. But no.
Wow, that sounds kind of involved.
It does. But yeah, the acorn's pretty easy. Maybe you can even dip them. Speed it up a little.
Oh, maybe they did that. There you go. There you go.
I don't know. You'd have to be really careful, and you maybe have to put painter's tape on the other part.
Okay.
Too complicated.
All right. Well, this one's a little easier. How about just having a basket of mums or
there you go
with some mums in it? And then I'm thinking about how we love in the fall, cooler months to have some birch logs in a basket or just sitting by the fireplace.
Yeah.
Looks like they're ready to go in whether you have a wood fireplace or not.
Right.
Show logs.
Don't let anybody put them on fire.
Thinking about, I have a few more things here, are some copper accents. This is the time to have like a copper tray or maybe a copper pot that you've put some mums in or something. I think this would be a beautiful time to set those out. I also saw on Pinterest some buffalo plaid painted pumpkins, which I never would have thought of doing, but they were really pretty.
Yeah, I'm going to put that on the list with the painted acorn bottoms.
You know how, a few years ago, everyone was doing the decoupaging of the pumpkins, remember?
Yeah, I do. I might have dipped my toe into that, too. I've just become less crafty, although I do appreciate a good craft. I appreciate everything you're saying. No,
well, I talk a good game. I mean, am I going to go do any of these things? No. But, all the crafty things. But I appreciate them from afar.
Yeah, well, it's good. It's all good inspiration. You can see something and then it springs you to another place.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then enamel pitchers. I think that's also something that would be great with some dried flowers or those wheat shafts like you were talking about. Or what about the dried pussy willows that we found at Trader Joe's recently? I'm wondering,
I love that, but that's a season. That's a spring thing, I think.
Well, did they? Was that in the spring? Well, it seems kind of fall. Was that? Oh my goodness! I feel like I just got them.
Well, that's when pussy willows come out.
I have no idea what month it is.
I don't either.
Right, it's fall.
It's fall.
Okay,
it's fall, y'all. Stop it.
Okay, all right, and then, how about some little hay bales to put on your porch to put, your mums or whatever your plants on top of that. I think that would be nice. Now, at our farm, our hay bales are these round hay bales that are about 6 feet tall. So I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the little squares.
Oh, wow. So they look like the ones in like a Dutch painting, the rolled up hay?
Oh, yeah. They're massive. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whoa. That's very cool. Anita, what are we defining today?
Today we're defining the term bijou. A bijou is a small, dainty, usually ornamental piece of delicate workmanship. Something delicate, elegant, or highly prized. So it can refer to small things like a jewel, but it can also be referred to a dwelling, like a house. So if you want to describe a house in a way that you want to say it's small, but it's also very charming and attractive, you could call it bijou. And this is not a term that I hear a lot in the U.S., but it is used a lot in the U.K.
Interesting. Not to be confused with bougie, which is a whole different thing and not associated with a house. I guess your house could be bougie.
What is that?
Bougie's kind of like a little over the top, a little bling, a little sparkle.
Okay, well, now we've defined two terms for you.
Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. BritBox just keeps getting better. The new Archie is amazing. And it's not the comics. It's about Cary Grant. Archie is the brand new limited series starring Jason Isaacs as Archie Leach, the man who became Cary Grant. From the award-winning screenwriter of Philomena, Archie tells Grant's born in Britain, made in Hollywood story, the dramatic grit to glamour transformation that led him to become one of the most famous people in the world. You are going to absolutely love the acting, but also the styling, the outfits, the scenery. It's the first time his story has been told in collaboration with his daughter Jennifer Grant and ex-wife Diane Cannon. The performances from Jason Isaacs and the rest of the cast are amazing, and it's only available on BritBox. So sign up for BritBox today to stream Archie and other fan favorites from any device. And we have a special limited time offer for our U.S. and Canadian listeners. Get 50% off, yes, that's 50% off your first month when you sign up for a monthly plan. But only if you go to BritBox.com and use our promotion code DTT at checkout. You're going to love Archie. So head over right now and get 50% off your first month of BritBox. Use the promotion code DTT at BritBox.com. Oh, my crush is so bijou. It's so tiny and adorable. Is that the right usage of that word?
Yes, I think you did very well there.
And what a nice segue. We don't plan these things, you know.
No.
It's about 1.5 inches, maybe 3 3/4 round pumpkin, felted pumpkin. And you get a set of them. And they're so adorable. I mean, they're just... you just can't resist them. They are so cute. And they're felted, so you could put some essential oils on them and make them smell really good and tuck them around places. But of course, you don't have to do that. But you could top a gift with them. You could add them to a small size vignette. They would look super cute. You could put them in a clear glass jar and just have them sitting out for the fall. They're super, super cute. I found them on Amazon, but again, it's a small business, Glacier Art One, and it's a family-owned company. They come in a set. I believe we had 10 in a set. Really reasonably priced, super cute. The link will be in the show notes.
Okay, I'm going to have to get the link to this before this goes live.
Yeah. Get them soon. What's your crush?
My crush is the Instagram account of Milieu Magazine. So we love Milieu Magazine. It is well worth the money, full of high-end, beautiful ideas. But if you don't get the magazine, you can still see so many of their gorgeous photos on their Instagram page. Beautiful photos, inspiration, interiors, gardens, and just a wide variety of lovely details.
Nice. Yes, you can't go wrong there. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. And remember, we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.